Okay, so we're adding in a cylinder, turning down the polygon count there to 12, and we are scaling it on the z-axis, just doing a bit of modeling, insetting, extruding, adding in a cube, modeling that. And what we're going to do is use an array modifier to rotate duplicates of this object around the central point in the middle of that cylinder. So added an empty object to the center of the cylinder. We've turned down the offset to 0, 0, 0 on X, Y, and Z, but using an object offset and selecting the empty as the object to offset the cube on. We can then turn the count up on the array modifier to 6 and rotate that empty by 60 degrees on the Z-axis, and we get that effect there. So that's just something to play about with. I'm just applying a bevel modifier. I've applied the array modifier and joined the cube to the central cylinder, deleted the empty, added a bit of a bevel, and joined them up. So here we're adding a torus, the kind of donut shape. We are adding an array modifier, and we are offsetting it by 1 on the z-axis to stack it one on top of the other. Just turned the count up to 25. We're using a curve here. So this is the NURBS path curve. And we're going to model the curve, and then that torus will follow the shape of the curve. You can see that happening here. So the curve is a bit like a vector path in Illustrator, if you've ever used Illustrator before. And then after making one of these Sci-Fi pipes, I'm duplicating it, just duplicating on the y-axis, editing the NURBS path again and changing it slightly, just so we've got a couple of different versions of these pipes that we can reuse in our scenes, or in my scene. Okay, so it's just taking a little bit of experimentation and playing about with the positions of the verts in that path. So just get a completely vertical pipe. I think if I was to spend a bit more time on these, I mean, they look a little bit too generic there. They look more like a nut or a bolt rather than a pipe. And then this one is just the mirror modifier, just creating some kind of knobbly drainage pipe with a series of insets, extrusions, scaling some of those areas up, using Alt-E to extrude on the normals there. That's a good one, a nice little tip there. So I did a loop cut with Control-R, but instead of doing multiple loop cuts, I only selected one, so I was able to use the bevel command on that edge to create 2 loop cuts. And then just reusing another piece of pipe that I've created before, applying the mirror modifier on both of those objects, joining them up with Control-J, and naming them so that I can append them to my scene later on. So applying the array modifier to the pipe also. So opening up the building file, giving it a minute, and we're going to append those objects. So file, append, go and find the file you were working in, into the objects folder, select the objects by name, and then it's a case of positioning them where you'd like to use them. So I'm showing a couple of different ways you can position objects by snapping the 3D cursor to the building, the center of the building, and then snapping the object, the selected object, to the 3D cursor just to get things into position. Same thing there for this piece of this sort of stand component. And then different way, just using the top view with 7 on the numpad and the right view to get this piece of pipe into position. I'm not that keen on this pipe, I think it needs a bit more work, but it was just to show you that and to invite you to try out that process of using a NURBS path and then just applying some materials here that I already had created for other parts of the scene. So I hope that helps. I challenge you to do your best, make 3 to 6 assets for a indoor or outdoor environment. Good luck.